All right, mi gente, my people. Good evening, good evening. Mi gente, I am your host for the evening, Hakeem Report Coreano. Welcome to a new installment of La Esquina Open Mic. Your features for the evening are two phenomenal poetesses, Jossie Ortiz and Alejandra Ramos Gómez. Before we get into that though, in remembrance and remembering not to forget, this month is also called Black August. It is a month when many of my comrades, including myself, continue to follow the tradition of honoring freedom fighters, their sacrifice, their legacy throughout the month. We fast from sunrise to sunset. We recharge, we reawaken, research in remembrance and significance for those people past and present who paved the way for us to be here. So I would like to pose a question to everyone who blesses the virtual stage this evening. What are you doing for your ancestors? Whether it's something you do every day, something you keep in your thoughts, consciously, subconsciously. Maybe you have a tradition with your family, your tribe. We would like to know here at La Esquina Open Mic. And as always, shout out to the títeres and títeras in the virtual building. And I'm gonna open it with a poem. This is Miracles. My fridge turned off, which is a sign. Not of a god of thunder, a god of silk, a god of the rich, did the carpenter speak, but of a god of compassion, of peace, of a day brighter than today, a God whose miracles still work in the slave pens and shackles, in the projects, in the hellish daily life of the poor and the oppressed, not miracles like walking on waves, transforming water to wine, but miracles of love arising in hearts where it seems least likely to flourish. Here and there in the barrios and the favelas, among those who have least, beat hearts of hope, fly sparks of overcoming. From Death Blossoms Mumia Abu Jamal, political prisoner, still imprisoned in the prison industrial complex. Mi gente, once again, welcome, welcome. I'm excited to be here. I'll be honest with y'all, it's been a rough week, but I'm looking forward to sharing some of my story as well as hearing yours. So we will get the open mic portion started. Please join me in welcoming next to the virtual stage, much like my hermano, brother, Mario Jose Pagan Morales. I like to hear new voices. And I thank all of you for coming this evening. We're gonna have an amazing, amazing show. So I would like to bring Ed Poetastic to the virtual mic, y'all.
Oh, muchas gracias, mi amigo, amigas. My name is Ed Poetastic. Hope everyone feeling fantastic. Please get in time so you can enjoy my ride so you can all feel sublime. Thank you so much. Here's my magnificent poem, Incredible Chime. This is called Bare Naked Truth. We're exposed poets. We stand naked every day. Oh, come on, you know it. 100 shades every single day. You know it, no denying it. Our emotion on full display. You have to quickly admit, we all write bare essays. Our words can really hit, flush out the inner gray. Yes, we're naked. Don't quit. Shine your golden ray. I know if you feel so sick, show the world the way. Hope it can really click. Chip away you and others' clay. Keep crushing those bricks. Help all who are lost and astray. Perform those emotional tricks. Make the inner trauma delay. Give a backbone for those pricks. Make the thunderstorm decay. Change or reform the skeptics. Acceptance. No more betrays. Support that man or chick. Unshackle the collars of obey. Make your personality stick. Give advice in life's disarrays. Remove those small annoying ticks. Bare naked insight you betray. You're naked. Everything will be okay. And I got one more. Thank you. Muchas gracias. I got one more in store.
Absolutely.
This is called,
take your time, brother. You can do another one. Go ahead.
Thanks.
So plug yourself, where people could find you. Also, what do you do to honor your ancestors?
Sure. I honor my ancestors by being one with people, by showing respect to others, by just living life as quickly and possibly as I can, and try to be a sparkling light or a more of a warm embrace for people that are in need. You know, teach one, preach one, right? All right. My name, you can find me at Facebook on Eddie Foreman and IG on Foreman92. And remember, the mic is right. I'll be there to shine my protestic insight. And if you send me a request, I'm going to hit yes. All right. Here's more that's in store. This is called They Say About You. My man. They say about me, I really don't care. Names are on labels. You're not here or there. Labels don't instantly disable. They'll wallow in dark despair. You know what some say about MLK and Gandhi? It really wasn't pleasant or nice. They help on a deep, passionate degree, even for a painful price. People need to understand, words are only words. They can be either iron or sand. Do not be too disturbed. They can't command or demand. When someone said anything bad about you, pay them no thought or mind. They don't know what you do. Leave their dark clouds behind. Get lost in your adventurers in your view. Do not mind them. Be aligned while they stay blind. They don't control your fate. Can't push your buttons or pull your strings. Let them bask in their self-hate. Pursue your unique golden wings. We can all relate. Life is whatever you create. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ed. Absolutely. Words are only words. If you send me a request, I will say yes. I like that. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming through. And absolutely, we are here once a month, so please do return. And with that, please, everyone, join me in welcoming next to the virtual stage someone who has been here before. And I was looking forward to his pieces. Next to the virtual stage is Will Win.
Good evening, beautiful people. I'm so glad to be here and so glad to share this time with you. And I appreciate the time that you have put aside to listen to our efforts, okay? My first poem is about addiction. And addiction, I understand it as a strategy that we develop to deal with our pain. And addictions can be addiction to anything, really, not just to drugs that are so maligned, and the people who use them are so maligned too. We can have shopping, sex, all these things that we use in order not to deal with our pain. Okay, so this is called Behind the Parapets, the Walking Wounded Hide. Behind the parapets, the walking wounded hide. They hold aloft their brittle eyes, their screams of putrid excrement, their bloodied surplices, their crowns of thorns, their individual crosses aloft. Behind the dark and devious parapets, the walking wounded hide, among their thoughtless dreams, among their fallen idols, circumstantial evidence of their misguided passion? For who has not walked that crooked path and fallen, tripped up by unexpected hope, not met, not granted, their coins of illusions spent in hopeless dreams without relief? The walking wounded hide their wounds, the gaping holes of disbelief, the slashes of flashing discontent. Betrayal cuts too deep to kill, the walking wounded cry. Among the many, in single column, march those who cannot believe their fates. Beset by doubt and disbelief, they drag their amputated limbs and blinded seek the light that beckons and that kills. The walking wounded hide behind uncaring parapets. Don't doubt their pain. Thank you. And as a contrast to that one, I'll do, this is, you'll know love. You'll know love by its spore, its condiment, its sauce. You'll know love because it's there hidden within the folds of life. Then springing forth totally true teaches you warmth. You'll know it because its innocence will shine. And aloft your heart, held in some kind of trance, will be at peace, at rest. A stoic endurance is not the kind of thing I'm talking about, because love brings patience, tolerance, ease. You'll know love because its fire does not burn. Its heat does not singe. Its waters do not drown. You will know love by its calmness, its quietness, its strength. And then, of course, you will share it. You let it go as loosened arrow, as bird relieved, as fresh, clear water rushing on the thirsty ground. Thank you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Will Wynn. That was amazing.
Thank you so much.
It's definitely refreshing to hear poetics that bring you somewhere, that transport you. So I appreciate
one last thing, one thing about my ancestors.
Oh yes, please do share.
Yeah, I honor my ancestors by living an honest life.
Mm.
I honor my ancestors by helping others, by making my life about helping others. And in the more practical terms, I honor my ancestors because I have a little altar with their pictures, and I remember them. And I honor them, particularly on the Day of the Dead and el Día de los Muertos.
Sí.
¿No? Entonces, en este día es un día especial donde hacemos una clase de ceremonia, ¿no? En la que por cada una de las fotografías, sí, ¿no? Recordamos el nombre, recordamos el día del nacimiento y de la muerte y de que lo que nos trajo cada persona, ¿no? Así que te agradezco esa oportunidad de compartir eso, algo que es tan íntimo, ¿no? Gracias.
Absolutely, we need that, especially in these times of uncertainty. We need to remember those that are not here with us, even those that are here but are far away. And it's important to speak their names, keep them fresh in our minds. You know, give them a call. You know, So yeah, thank you. Thank you. Muchas gracias por compartir. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Right.
So please join me in welcoming next to the virtual stage, someone who really has rocked out with us from the inception of this virtual rendition of the open mic. This brother, I love, really love his poetry. Please put your hands together for Thomas Connor, everyone.
Peace, peace, everyone. How's everybody doing? So I'm just gonna get to it right now. You can find me at Thomas Connor on Facebook and TAC7371 on Instagram. Let's get it. My imagination dreams of a new me, a rhythmic me, crafting a melody that all bodies can embody, unveiling beats that time forgot, flows that slip through lips, bars to reach stars, organized confusion, sonic alchemy, in a litany of lyrics birthed into thought, my tongue dousing, cleansing corridors that time forgot, spitting chords that only beatboxers and spit could connect to, a mambolero for my títeres that crowd corners to find space, my words saging the air so we can all breathe freely. And as you can see, they trying to stop us from doing that shit. I want to spit crips to bury sound and boom bap, drop bars to corral ears, just to let you know I've been doing this shit for years. Doing it in the park, doing it in the dark, yet vision still loosened. We a collective of voices, free, never boxed, never sold at 3 a.m. on some station you watching after getting high with your friends. This shit is golden. Jill Scott in the background, DJs with the get down. I want to speak of dreams deferred, spit dirges for the dead, words that bend curves in your mind, twisted, spitting cryptic linguistics, b-boy shit with my arms folded. And you know, y'all gonna love it. So I'm gonna come back and run it. Maybe, or maybe not, or maybe later. Yo, Mr. C, hit the fader. Rest in power, Big Biz. Peace. Got one more. For the red, white, blue, and dead. We are sand and foam, blood and bone, memory with purpose. We beaten so hard our flesh forgets its humanity. Beasts of burden we've become. We are the lamb's silence, dripping sacrifice from our chest, necks, and our arms reach for the sun so as not to lose its hue. Backs and necks broken, this shit is blood sport. Our eulogies, centuries in the making. Our huts and homes dripping vacant, sacred, scarred by circumstance. Our blood drips in Algonquin red shade, decaying slowly like flowers at a grave. Letters to the slave, thank you for your strength, your last breaths, everlasting, sacrificing flesh for eternity. Our collective Messiah is dying for their sins. We, the shade of the universe, so as not, excuse me, we, the shade of the universe, we God particles, we quasars and stars Magellan in our shape. We manifested our destiny while you walked on all fours. We, a symphony of vibrations, ringing loud, turning into shroud holy, slowly resurrecting our ancestors, hoping their voice rings from the grave. We decomposing human compost to fertilize the earth that still hurts. We are the strange fruit that hangs from fingertips, holding on to hope. Peace.
Thomas, that was fire.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So real quick, brother, I know you kind of touched on it in your poetry, but what you do to honor your ancestors.
So what I do is to honor my ancestors, I keep the Central American Honduran culture alive through verse. I touch on it a little bit in my poetry. I actually have more pieces, but to honor them, that's what I do. I kind of keep those traditions alive. You know, Honduras is one of those places that are not commonly known, you know, so I try to make sure that that message gets across.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely important. Thank you, brother. Thank you for always coming through, rocking the mic. Dope as always.
Thank you, thank you.
So please help me, join me in welcoming next to the virtual stage. Wow, she's a powerhouse. What else can I say? I'm a true fan of her work. She has, from what I hear, dope book out. It's out. She can maybe speak about it a little. I would like to welcome next to the virtual stage, Susana Braves Perez.
Thank you, Rebel.
Yeah.
This is such a beautiful idea to talk about the ancestors, and very much like Will, I try to have photos around to keep their faces present and honor them at times of the year, Dia de los Muertos, on their birthdays. But I think most important is I try to incorporate some of the teachings, the wisdoms that I feel like my mother, my grandmother tried to impart to me as an honor to them, to try to live well, you know, live with good intentions, with good actions. And when I was writing my book, it was interesting to see that my grandma came up in a lot of the poems, very unconsciously, but that she was there in like 4 or 5 of the poems. So it let me know how much her teachings affected me. So that's that. In the book, I'll put in the link. It's called Hurricanes, Love Affairs, and Other Disasters. We did a book release party in June when it first came out, and we're having another one on the 21st of this month. And a lot of you know Rebecca Lois Lucret. So she'll be one of the readers, along with Elijah Pringle and Josiah Luis Aderete and some others, and some beautiful music. And I'll be reading from the book as well. So I'll put it in the link, and hopefully you're all invited to come. It'll be great to see your faces. Speaking of ancestors or antepasados, I'm going to share like this is not my personal ancestor, but one of our poetry ancestors that we all share. This is an homage to Julia de Burgos, who is one of my favorite poets. And this is, if you know her work, you'll recognize some of the style, but it's also biographical of her. It's called Tributary. I was born by the mouth of a Rio Grande de Luisa, where sweet waters kiss Atlantic waves. I was a rhyme in the river, and the river a verse in my dreams. From thighs of earth, fruit of desire, I floated like petals on rivulets, glistening mirror of moon. On a journey, rambling mountains and valleys, aqua curls through emerald leaves, river caressed my body and roused my soul. The eldest of 13 children, 6 died for lack of bread. Calloused palms held blade and plow while my hands craved paper and pen. In the fists of Los Yankees, my island snatched 16 years before. Spanish coins gathered dust in a jar while my mother boiled gandules. Big is the empire we battle, but bigger is our right to be free. Pedro Albizu Campos' flame lit an ardent light in me. I was born on the banks of the Rio Grande de Luisa, a boundless river, a raging torrent of tears for the pain my people endure. And also in the tradition of Julia de Burgos, she was a very romantic poet, a very romantic person, and she suffered a lot for love. So this next is a love poem of my own that I recently wrote called Roses Have Thorns for a Reason. I fear sharks and dogs might smell the scent of my blood, mask it with isatis and bravado. I feign armadillo skin, exchange a switchblade for an answer, fling rigid feathers like a wing across a nest. At day's end, I dismantle my armor, hang phrases like, I got this, on a hook by my door, store my whale rib smile in a jar of lime juice and honey. What's left is the song of mourning doves, a slippery oyster on an opalescent shell, the downy hairs at the opening of my ear. Who can I trust with all this, delicate as hummingbird eggs? Who can I hand my twig-like bones to and know they'll be returned unbroken? You approach me with a mouth full of may eyes, fingertips that read my body like braille, trace my story, the scars on my eyelid, my knee, the space between my hips. You don't salivate like a jackal. Don't kick the switchblade out of my hand. You nest me in a bowl of woven fingers. Pause your blink. Inhale me deeply, patiently for communion. Wait in the moonlight. Hum as rose petals melt like wafers on your tongue. Thank you.
Yes, bravo, bravo. Thank you so much, Susana. I appreciate, you always showing up. For the títeres. And I want to bring a títere up. Is that cool with everybody? Can I bring a títere up on the virtual stage real quick? I think that's a proverbial yes. So please join me in welcoming a fellow títere. His origins are unknown. He is an extravagant figure with many names. I won't dare to try and pronounce them all, but I would just call him D-Bird.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, buenas cuando sea, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Jose Gastambide Núñez Herria Costa Suárez Ceja Bird, but you may indeed refer to me as D-Bird. And I will relate to you a piece that I wrote as I prepared to leave my humble abode of Brooklyn to come down to beautiful Orlando to be with my family after a year of not being able to see them. This is entitled, Going to See My Family. Going to see my family in Florida after a year of all this craziness. Wish me luck going and coming back. Préndeme una vela a los santos. Light me a candle to the saints, the Marvel and DC universe, the Taino pantheon, the Yoruba pantheon, the ancestors, Jesus. No, not that one. Your plumber who won't return your calls unless Pollo al Horno's cooking in the kitchen. The Thundercats, the Power Rangers, the Ninja Turtles, Bebe's Kids, Hammerman, Jesus. No, not that one. The Super. The SWAT Cats, Mario Bros, Wario Bros, Warner Bros, Josie and the Pussycats, the Nickelodeon cartoon pantheon, El Viejito who always sits in the corner, siempre está jodiendo con algo. The Powerpuff Girls, Don Pedro Albizu Campos. Jesus. No, not that one. Your cousin thrice removed who you don't know about because he's a secret love child. Don't hate the game, son. Hate the player. Dick Tracy, Chespirito, Doña Florinda, Cantinflas, Cardi B, Amara la Negra, Bad Bunny, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, the Mickey Mouse Club, but not Mickey Mouse because fuck that guy. Jesus. Yes, that one. But not the whitewashed one they sell you on velas at Seatown. The brown one who preached good news to the poor and oppressed. The one Muerte Mercado had on speed dial because they were tight like that. Don't hate the player. Hate the game, son. And Muerte Mercado, our Lord and Savior, que en paz descanse, pero al tercer doble seis resucitará. Amén. Ashe. Y tranqui, yo perreo sola. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to that cascade of random shit I strung together on the airplane this morning. I now want to turn it over to a very special guest for the second piece. The OG of the OGs, the original Papa Bird, ladies and gentlemen. El señor Don Jose Gastambide. Oh, fuck. Sorry, Bobby. I forgot the poem. It was called Corey Richard, right?
Sí.
All right.
Tengo que hablar en español o en inglés.
Como te dé la gana, papi. Como tú quieras.
Yo voy a decir dos poesías.
Ok. Saludos, papi.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es José Gastambide, soy el padre de Daniel y de David, que es mi otro hijo, que está aquí conmigo, y mi esposa ahorita está ahí también sentada en la sala. Y como mi hijo es medio poeta, yo también, pues le voy a decir dos poesías, una en inglés y otra en español. La de inglés no me va a entender mucho y la de español tampoco, así que afinen el oído. Esta poesía se llama Richard Cory, compuesta por Edwin Arlington Robinson. Y dice de la siguiente manera.
Sí.
Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from soul to crown, clean flavored and imperially slim. And he was quietly arrayed. And he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered purses when he said, "Good morning." And he glittered when he walked. And he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought that he was everything to make us wish that we were in his place. And so on we worked and walked, and so we worked and waited for the light, and went without the meat and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. That's it. Yeah.
Diablo, so todo cabrón viejo.
Uh-huh.
Did you have to pick the one with suicide, though?
Well, that's the point.
Put a trigger warning on that, my man.
I didn't wrote it.
You recited it clearly.
I read that.
Thank you for entertaining two títeres from the old guard and the new one. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Hijo y papá Gastambide, Daniel, me gustaría saber, a ver si le puedes preguntar a papi, si él tiene una manera de honorar a los ancestros.
¿Escuchaste, papi?
Sí, lo escuché. A los ancestros nuestros, ¿verdad?
Exacto, sí.
Bueno, en realidad, yo a sabiendas nunca lo he hecho, pero sí pensando en ellos, pues pienso en ellos, o sea, los que me acuerdo y los que sé de mi familia que han hecho algo por alguien, ¿me entiendes? Sí, lo hago. No voy a decir que, tú sabes, muchas veces, porque uno tiene otras cosas que hacer. Ya no tanto porque yo estoy retirado, pero mientras trabajaba, pues obviamente tenía que estar pensando en mi trabajo. ¿Entiendes? Como quien dice ahora que yo estoy empezando a hablar de cosas que no me entorpece mi trabajo porque ya estoy retirado hace tiempo.
Sí. Pero a veces es importante y es suficiente pensar en ellos y decir el nombre de ellos en la mente de uno para, ¿verdad?, recordarlo.
Claro que sí, claro que sí.
Gracias, papi, te agradezco.
¿Cómo no?
You heard it there first, mi gente. All right, so we're going to keep the energy going. Please join me in welcoming next to the virtual stage. This brother is also dope artist, poet, singer, I believe songwriter as well. Please help me in welcoming next to the virtual stage, Tony Aldaron.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rebel. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. This is like a free trip to New York. And I honor my abuela, say her name, Patria Santana. And I always remember her saying, be a good father. Just be a good father. And I'm not good at too many things, but I am good at being a good father. And that's how I honor her. The first, well, I'll do one poem titled Damn Dog. In the 4th grade, I discovered my first favorite TV show, Good Times. I would rush home to watch it after getting off the train, and one day after opening the heavy steel door to the entrance of the East River houses, the projects we lived in New York City, I noticed an out of order sign on the elevator. So I go to take the stairs. And when I open the door that leads to the stairs, I immediately make eye contact with a vicious beast. Though it was only for a split second, staring into the eyes of a vicious beast to a 4th grader like me felt like an eternity. For that split second, I looked into the eyes of the meanest, ugliest, and biggest pit bull I had seen in my life. He was off leash, no owner, no collar, and I was all alone with no parent and too scared to holler. He was staring at me like he knew me and I owed him money. And while he was staring at me, he was lifting up his right leg, taking a piss on the stairs like he owned the building. Thank God I didn't panic. I slowly took one step back, then began to walk backwards in slow motion. Now I was staring at his steamy urine drip down the stairs like hot lava. And I was always afraid of hot lava. Shit, I can't even go to Hawaii. Damn, that pit bull scared me so much I was afraid of his piss. At this point, both of my eyeballs were fixated on the hot golden shower he was giving the stairs. Believe me, it was better than staring into his eyes. That pit bull almost scared the shit out of me and almost had me peeing on myself. I can't get over the look he had on his face. It was like, that look that says, bitch, you owe me money. What you looking at? I didn't know what it meant back then, but I know what it means today. And that's the look he had on his face. I noticed I started to sweat as my heart raced while walking backwards in slow motion, slowly attempting to close that thick steel stairwell door that they have in those New York City projects. My little hands with sweaty palms somehow managed to grip the handle on that heavy-ass door and slam it in front of me to safety. The pit bull that I call Beast immediately began to bark, and I ran as fast as I could out of that building. And with the change I had in my pocket, I went to get a scoop of ice cream from the Mr. Softy ice cream truck and waited for my dad to get off of the bus when he came home from work. I had just finished my ice cream as my dad got off the bus. For once in my life, I was happy to see him. We walked into the building together and he noticed the out of order sign on the elevator too. And I noticed it didn't help his sunny disposition. And believe me, I'm joking. He doesn't have a sunny disposition. So he headed down the hall to the stairwell with the angry confidence of a mad lion. I was 3 steps behind him and noticed I needed to jog just to keep up. He opened the heavy steel stairwell door as easy as turning a page in a book. And I noticed the pit bull was long gone. I said to myself, that pit bull was big, mean, ugly, and vicious, but he wasn't stupid. Because he became a ghost when my dad walked up those stairs. He must know my dad or smelled his sweater or his Brute 33 or something. That was lucky for him. But what was unlucky for me was that damn dog made me miss Good Times, my favorite TV show. Damn dog. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Tony. Always a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna keep the energy going with you know what? Would like to bring up El Títere Mayor if he's ready. títere mayor on paper anyway. El títere mayor. Mario José Pagán Morales Rivera, ¿qué más? Now I'm adding names to him. If not, I will go ahead and read a piece myself. So y'all ready? I miss people. Are you ready? Oh Lord. Mr. the Rebel, yes, it come for rock steady. Blubbo. Oh Lord. Is he rebel with the cause? Did he come merely to get his point across? Here but for the loss, like he's bearing a cross? Or is he rebel without a pause, whose cause is to incite a riot just because, intending to shake foundation with word penetration from thoughts that cause detonation in your psyche? We might be Chet in the Congo, most likely maroon with the blessing of Oshun. For the soldier, he's not willing to revolt against the US for dumping toxic coal ash in Puerto Rico. Nah, son, he not crazy. But can it be? Just let it be, says poet to rebel. You America now, Papa, part of the hypocrisy. I'll be bodega prophecy, menacing mutiny with no love for corrupt nations equipped with an RBP, RPG, taking shots at monarchies who oppose free-thinking society. Unity is the best strategy to combat this insanity. We are not protected by a constitution when equality is just an illusion for those who cannot afford a solution. Subsidized fragments of broken homes, displaced by the colonial shuffle, drifting on the tide of poverty, tied to sinking slave trade industry. My home is colony in debt and territory, destabilized, set aside like a third world thing that has died. Said rebel to poet, check, check, check. The rhythm, the treble, feel it in your veins. Find the disdain of the opposition that keep wishing we refrain and remain still, not growing, not knowing. Blast your truth, hack the mainframe, becoming a virus downloadable to reprogram the program, take down the beast mechanisms, take Mumia out of prison. This is the resistance, resisting. They are now bearing witness to our deadliest weapon, our collective spirit within. Shh. Can you hear it? Do you feel it? Thank you, mi gente. With that, I will bring up el títere mayor. Sinvergüenza mayor. Mario Jose Pagan Morales next to the virtual stage. Everybody put your hands together.
So buenas noches. I'm sorry. I'm literally still at work.
No.
Because so I apologize. How I honor my ancestors. I started honoring my ancestors 3 years ago. At the end of this month, my father would have taken his step to be with his ancestors, or my ancestors, 3 years now. And time flies. So what I try to do is I try to, especially with my son who's 17 years old, is try to dismantle, you know, uh, toxic masculinity, patriarchy. Um, Unfortunately, as a Boricua man, I was raised around machismo, so I've been knocking down those walls for a very long time with my son. And just, I treat everybody the same way I want to be treated. Mi papá era un hombre excepcional. He's always giving, always open to receiving and forming community. So it's funny because I chose this poem. I have two poems. I chose this one because I was thinking about a couple of friends who have passed away in the last couple of years. And it just happens to mention our ancestors. So this is called Ire. How exhausting to be a living casket, a puddle, a pena. Hear sage, velas, y prayers. Shoot CeeLo on buff hospital floors. El Reverendo Pedro rolls trips for your salvation to get you through the gate where Abuela will meet you. Con un cafecito bien cabrón to receive you in the land of our ancestors. Melancholia reigns on you. Yo, you remember the 5 pesos you borrowed from the willow tree on Loisaida para la cura? That time we cried at your birthday, it smelled like botanica. The grown-ups giggled, said El Igual ate all the piñata candy. Navidad, when we all came to your house to play Nintendo, but your tío sold it for manteca. La Cubana who lived on the 3rd floor, the one who we fell in love with, whose husband dressed in black and blues porque Iri Chacon had nothing on her. Your favorite song, Babi Capó, could make you dream of La Isla. When we burned down Abuelo's lemon tree, we swore never to speak of it. The neighbor's bicicleta you borrowed, sin permission. Abuela whooped your ass porque aquí no se crían ladrones. We got smacked on Mavi, el Carnaval en Ponce, summers in La Isla, summers in Nueva York, a drum circle in Orchard, Lake Welch, La Parada, screaming, Yo soy Boricua. You love children, but didn't want any. La Lupe, Hector, Carlos, Amen. Your last birthday, I told you not to inhale. The antiseptic bland chicken brings you back to Bendito. Family, friends, well-wishers, a biography of you. They speak of your good name. Tears cling to staying a little longer, hoping for the miracle they saw in La Telenovela, where everything was fine at the end. They go to church more than they have in years. Rogamos to anyone who would listen. Blister our thumb and pointer, rotating beads, they get to a virgin. Like candles on the block, a collage of you stands on 3rd Ave, and the clarimancer rolls the bones, clack, clatter, rattle, boom, 4, 5, 6. This is how you get through a portón. Your body gives up the ghost. No se despide. You begin to walk towards Ire. And then I'll end it with a recurring dream I have while sitting at the bar. Your loss pulls me. I haven't cleaned your altar, lit a candle, or poured you a drink. Sometimes I forget you love sweets. Listen, you showing up at the side of my bed is not funny. You walking into my kitchen is not fair. I knew it was you por tu andar. At least make coffee. And while you're at it, pour a drink to Melancholia so we may toast to Spotify how it conspires against me. Hey, have you ever tried really reaching out to the other side? You touch the back of my hand, whisper, just smile. I want to say so much, pero tus ojos convince me tonight all we will do is drink. Muchas gracias y buenas noches.
Hermano, awesome, dope as always. I I got goose pimples. Mira. Yes, yes. So I would like to bring up next to the virtual stage someone who I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe will be her first time spitting, and correct me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Trevon Bynum.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes, welcome to La Esquina.
Hi, thank you. Disclaimer, I didn't know I was actually signing up to read, so I just found some stuff, and yeah, so I'm not found anywhere. I'm just hanging out here today. If it's okay, I'd like to read 2 pieces, and the second one will answer the question about the ancestors. So here we go. I am always. There is always something, but no one thing always is. It is this space of otherness of where I seem to live. In the catch of the 22 dangling from the edge of coins that must flip, I am the equal but opposite reaction, the happening of the ship. I thought I was the stone the builder ultimately refused, but instead I found a deeper purpose, and I am perfectly used. For I create the paradigm and the force behind the shift. I make the flow in the system to take what I can give. I am the darkness pierced by the light. The negative of space I wield, the other half of the glass the water does not fill. So make peace with me, for I am there, always the other, forever still, to forge the possibilities for you to freely will. So that's the first one. And the second one is called We Livin'. These days try our souls. We're living with hurt bursted at our seams. We're living with scars that reject adornment, slow to heal. We live at large with small amounts of hope. We chop it up fine, mix it in our stews to stretch it out and share it around. These days we send secret prayers up on the wings of whispers, not knowing for sure if they fall into atmosphere or burn into the sun. Sending them all the same, dreaming up future fodder to bring myself into existence, feeling ancestral hands guiding my steps along the way. I honor them by living well into the future they fought for me to have. And that is it.
Living well into the future they fought well to. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here at La Esquina. We host this open mic every month. Títere Poets is a collective of writers. Each month we take hosting duties. We take turns. So definitely come through. Thank you so much for.
I'm usually in the audience, but you know, like I said, signed up for the wrong.
Yes, yes, awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming out. For those that are watching us live, you know, thank you for supporting us. And if any of the títeres want to say something for the evening that haven't said anything as of yet, say it now, forever hold your peace, because I'm getting ready to bring up our features for the evening. So, all right, that's your time. All right, cool. So without further delay, I will bring up our features for the evening. Jossie Ortiz is a student of IFA. She's a mother of a 14-year-old. She's a writer. She writes to offer a remembrance and light to her ancestors. She writes to acknowledge that our stories are our generational legacy, overcoming our obstacles and breaking trauma within our inherited lineages. I believe she also was involved in a play for the New Yorican. Correct me if I'm wrong, and please plug. Let us know what you're doing, how we can find you. She's an amazing sister. I had the privilege of working with her in several workshops. So I'm a true fan. Please help me in welcoming next to the virtual stage, Jossie Ortiz, y'all.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good.
I love you guys. Whew. I've been nervous all day, but I'm very excited to be here and to share with you guys some new pieces and old pieces. I am a student of FIFA, and the way that I honor my ancestors each day, I always make them un cafecito con leche. I always honor their name. I celebrate their birthday. I keep the memory alive, even if they're not here with me physically, they're here with me spiritually. And yeah, I mean, you know, I could go on and on. I write some pieces, a lot of my poems that was dedicated to my ancestors, like my grandmother and my uncle. So I'm gonna go ahead, and one of my pieces is entitled "Joe, Not Black Enough," which was part of one of the spoken word poems that were read at the New Weekends festival. So here I go. Joan, a pre-Portuguese Muslim Moor, Nigerian Dero, descendant of Islam, Yoruba, smudged across West African pores, Arabic, queer, brown skin, prieta, negra, de Hausa, y Fulani, y de Igbo, Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Uganda de Bantu, descendant of Tainos, hija de Oya, indigenous, proud Black boy. This body, this queer, brown, over masculine, intimate body, Black, Latinx, molded through lineage of warrior blood body, Carueño, Balcón, Montañez, Betancourt, Piñero, Acevedo, Rivera, Figueroa, y yo. Baptized in afflictions, this capacious, delicate, vulnerable, frightened, large, indefinite, sensitive mass of body that dissolves so easily through her lover's fingers whenever they kiss my face type body. These large bones pressed with cartilage and penny royalty body. I am made of Portugal, Spain, Nigeria, consecrated indigenous spirit. Yo, with Puerto Rico, Cameroon, Mexico, y Cuba. I, made of sugar cane, cotton, y palo, made of añejo, agongolí, tabaco, y ron. I offer me as an homage, not in dismissal to those past traumas or the current present of my livelihood, but a libation of consumption for the sacrifices of my ancestors, our ancestors. This body is made of their wildest of dreams. Just more. Thank you. My other two pieces that I'm going to read for you guys is from my book, The Monster. It's a book dedicated to letting go of trauma that we experience either as a child or as an adult. And this one is it's Spanglish. With mouth wide open, she becomes a gulping black hole, swallowing universes and dimensions into herself, exploding outwards reproaches of her traumas dismissed in her screams. With a scolding belly, the emptiness expands, each true tone pressed against her esophagus. Se convierte en el monstruo, tragando criaturas enteras, diluyéndose en la acidez de las excusas. That big full mouth swallowing innocence whole, y después se disculpa por las grietas de sus corazones ya rotos por la locura. They forgive her anyway, breaking limbs from themselves to feed the emptiness. But it's never enough. Her demands are never enough. Her feelings, until she finds herself standing alone in the hollowness of echoes. I have one more piece for you guys from the book The Monster, because I'm scrolling. This was called Confessions. Milk and honey makes the bitter taste tolerable enough to swallow the betrayals whole. It helps digest the lies. And even the tears that roll, they roll slower if you pretend not to be familiar with the aftertaste of it. It's easier to digest the pain with spoons dipped in sweetness. Falsehood is easy to hide. But how ridiculous is it that broken person believing that they can mend one another while still searching for themselves? So I still have a few minutes left.
Otra.
So the last three pieces, I just wrote these. They're very new. You guys are the first people that I'm sharing them with. These are also kind of in Spanish and Spanglish, but they're pretty much inspired by love, and romanticism, if you will. Did you know that you're my natural high? That you've ignited my belly with an eternal flame? Indisputably, profoundly, indistinguishably, no one may ever have it true. Sweet, undeniable, pure honey raw craving. And as the saying goes, contigo me entiendo. As to why insomnia awakens me with its dosage over time, fulfills me with the vibrations of the release. How I crave to fill my mouth with the new flavors of you. And I stretch myself across roads and realms for you. Because contigo me entiendo y me amo un poquito más. This one is really short. My playlist has had my soul drunk with feelings for days and weeks and months. My fingers have foreplayed between the pen, the paper, and the fumbling words from my mouth, leaving a burn felt in my throat like rum and herbs, like wild thoughts and love songs that caress me in places that I want to feel again. All right, this one is in Spanish. I haven't translated it, so I don't apologize. Rómpeme en pedazos sobre tu falda. Arrodíllate y coge esta comunión. Boca en boca, piel con piel, las puntas de mis dedos temblando mientras acaricio tu pecho. Necesito sentir tus oraciones dentro de mi cuerpo. Mi lengua repitiendo tu nombre mientras tú te comes las tristezas dentro de mí. Llévame a las nubes, rómpeme en pedazos sobre tu falda. Rapidito, suavecito, me siento vacía, soñando con tus ternuras sobre mi cuerpo y tu voz en mi oreja. Déjame arrodillarme frente de tu Dios. Déjame rezar a tus pies cuánto te quiero. Por favor, déjame beber tus orgasmos despacio. con mis besos, con mi boca, con mis pies.
Yes, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So please, where people can find you, you have books, plug, shameless plug. Go ahead, let them know.
You can go ahead and find me at josieortiz.com. And you can also find me on, I still not know her name, on Instagram. I'll put the info on the chat. You can find my links there for my chat books and my social pages and all that stuff.
And anything you're working on, maybe in the near future.
I'm currently working on a new chapter.
Nice.
It's called These Are Not My Love Letters. I'm hoping to have it released sometime by late fall. It's still a work in process because I want to go ahead and offer poems in Spanish and English.
Nice. That's dope.
That's it for now. And I'm graduating in October because I also love to cook. So I'm getting my associates in culinary arts, and I'm very excited for that. And after that, in Salve, we don't know what's going to be happening after.
We'll be chefing it up.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much for coming through and blessing the mic. It's always an honor and a pleasure. I love what you have to bring to poetics, and just your spirit is just amazing. Thank you so much for featuring.
Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. So I'll go ahead and bring up our next feature for the evening. Alejandra Ramos Gómez. She is a poet, writer, speaker, and consultant, born and raised in Juárez, Mexico. She resides in Dallas, Texas, and is the founder of We Are Poderosas. Ooh, I love that name. A girls' bilingual self-empowerment and spoken word initiative. Okay, I'm definitely checking that out. Alejandra was an educator for the past 7 years and currently serves as the editor of Impactando Dallas, the local Spanish column highlighting changes made in the Latinx community. Her work appears in international media, including TEDx, United Nations Girls Education Initiative, Plan International, NPR, Latino USA, Miss Magazine, Better, Chachalaca. Did I say that right? I hope I did. Review, and Rotary International. Her first bilingual poetry book, Imperfecta, okay, by Alegría Publishing, explores our experiences as women, immigrants, and Latinas. Powerful. So yes, please help me bring up to the virtual stage Alejandra Ramos Gómez, everybody.
Ay, gracias. Que estuvo bien larga mi video, me dio vergüenza. Lo hubiera yo cortado. No sabía.
Okay.
Pero thank you so much for the space. This is a beautiful space. You've all been like amazing performers, and I'm so inspired by all of you. Like I want to go and like try new things. This is great. So thank you for having me. When you were talking about what we do to, to honor our ancestors, I think for me, especially with my grandma, I've just noticed how strong she was and how many spaces, back in Juárez, she would be in a lot of spaces that were only men and she was the only woman. And I never realized how powerful that was. So when I think about honoring her memory, I always think about being brave and like occupying and creating those spaces that I'm afraid to do. And when I'm there, I'm like, wait, what am I doing? But just being brave and creating those spaces for girls, really, that's what moves me. And yeah, so this is my book Imperfecta, and so I'll share some poems with you. It's bilingual in Spanish. I really wanted to show people through this book what it means to be bilingual, right? So I write a lot about kind of like the same topics, but they're not a direct translation, and just really trying to show people that my brain is different. And yeah, and this first one is in Spanish, and it's called Soy Morena. Soy morena. Te hablo a ti. Sí, a ti. A esa mujer morena que duda de sí misma más de lo que piensan. A esa mujer morena que creció viendo estereotipos de belleza inalcanzables. A esa mujer que se adapta para encajar. A esa mujer morena que es considerada exótica por su lenguaje o manera de existir. A esa mujer que nunca imaginó existir en las portadas de revista. A esa mujer morena que aguantó insultos por no molestar o incomodar. Te hablo a ti. Sí, a ti. A esa mujer morena que ha cambiado. A esa mujer morena que hoy dice no más porque reconoce su valor. A esa mujer que irradia luz al amar su color. And I think it just took me a long time to love my color, you know, growing up in Mexico and never seeing myself. And so this is really for that. This one. Okay, this one is in English, and this one is just about living in the border, you know, living in a city that is known for its crime and its violence, and seeing it in movies, but actually living it is very different. So yeah, this is the border. Perspective of millennial fronteriza. Living in the femicide city is less glamorous than it sounds. Surviving was a sign of strength. They forced us to grow up being resilient, but they didn't prepare us to feel. The traumas caused by violence became part of the conversation. A phone call, another friend was murdered. The number of murders became our version of a good morning. Many of us grew up idealizing the American culture without understanding that there is always another side. We shared our stories pretending to be strong, but we didn't learn how to heal. My perspective has changed. Do not apply my resilience. Help me find justice for the lost lives. Y este siguiente, this one is from my grandma. So this just made me think of that. It makes me want to cry every time. But yeah, her name was Esperanza, Hope. Esperanza, un poema a la matriarca. Qué injusta es la vida que poco a poco me hace olvidarte. Te he escrito poema tras poema para honrar tu recuerdo, pero a veces siento que no es suficiente. Qué injusta es la vida que me enseña a apreciar a aquellos que ya no están a mi lado. Te sueño, pero si cierro los ojos ya no recuerdo tu apariencia. A veces siento que no me has abandonado. That's for her. Uy. Gracias. Gracias. I'm trying to find, because I've been speaking Spanish all day today, so my mind is more in like the Spanish side, but I'll try to. So this, let me do it in the English one, so it's kind of mixed. This poem, something that moves me a lot is, you know, and why I really advocate for gender equity is femicides. Growing up in Juarez, I think I never understood how much that affected me until I was older. And just the trauma, you know, and thinking that femicides were normal and that it was my job as a girl to take care of myself. And now I realize how that was not okay. And I really want a future where girls don't have to live that fear anymore. So this is for them. And this is Las Mujeres Olvidadas. Alma Chavira Farel, 13 years old, murdered in 1992. Daisy Jasmine Garcia Hernandez, 15 years old, murdered in 2017. Guadalupe Brenda Vizcarra, 26 years old, murdered in 2019. Susi Salais, 25 years old, murdered in 2020. These are the names of 4 women murdered in the state of Chihuahua, Mexico. There have been close to 2,000 women murdered in the past 25 years in my hometown. Vanessa Guillen, 20 years old, murdered in 2020. I left my country to run away from violence, but our nightmare does not end at the border, Las Mujeres Olvidadas. 2 a.m. and in between dreams, I hear my mother calling my sister in despair. A knot in my stomach invades me with doubt whether my sister is safe or not, whether my sister is alive or not. That was my reality for a long time. I grew up thinking that as a woman, being murdered was a possibility and that it was my duty to avoid it. Missing young women destroy families. Jóvenes desaparecidas, familias destruidas. ¿Cómo nos atrevimos a culparlas? How dare we dare to blame them? Men and women giving excuses for emotional and sexual abuse. What have we become? Blaming women for calling attention to what they wear as if we could control your mind. We're in a desert of sexual education. We lack clarity. Otra mañana, otra mujer asesinada. Another morning, another murder woman. Recuerdos de infancia de violencia e impunidad, recuerdos de miedo y frustración, childhood memories of violence and impunity, memories of fear and frustration. Every morning I woke up to the news of a femicide. Standard features, brown skin, short height, dark hair, it could have been me. One more pink cross, it became the new normal for us. My value as a woman was reduced to the fear of being murdered. I felt that I had to leave. And now I am caught between wanting to be with my family or surviving, because in our reality, women who speak up are considered a threat. Women are supposed to listen. Vanessa Guillén, nunca olvidaremos tu nombre. Una mujer más, otra que se nos va de las manos. We will never forget your name. Times have changed, but minds remain the same. It is more complicated than I thought. What have we become? Giving excuses for people committing abuse and justifying degrading actions by men who are supposed to be our leaders. Solo una de cada 10 mujeres denuncia el abuso. No porque no queramos, sino porque sabemos que nadie nos escuchará. Only 1 in 10 women report the abuse, not because we don't want to, but because we know if we do, most of the time no one would truly listen. Intersectionality is our enemy. Temen hablar de sexo seguro y menstruación, pero no temen tocarnos. They fear to talk about safe sex and menstruation, but they're not afraid to touch us. ¿Y cómo se acaba esto? And how does this end? I'm still searching for the solution. Today, my weapons are my mind and my voice. My most powerful weapon has become to turn the word me into us, my voice into our voice. Alma, Daisy Jazmín, Guadalupe, Susi, Vanessa Guillén, our voice. Muchas gracias. Gracias por eso. Ay, ¿y cuánto tiempo tengo? Si puedo leer, I still have a little bit of time. Okay. This next one is short, but it means a lot to me. This one is called Nacheli. Nacheli is my other name. Actually, in Mexico, no one calls me Alejandra or Ale, and my brain is kind of used to it. I feel like when I'm back home, I won't turn around if someone says Ale. They call me Nacheli or Nash. I come from an indigenous community in Oaxaca, in the Zapotecos. And Nacheli means I love you. And so I grew up with that name, and then people, my friends then called me Nash. And then when I moved to the US 7 years ago, I was like, no, it's gonna be too complicated. How am I gonna explain it? It's not in my, in my birth certificate and all of those things. And I just kind of removed that identity, I would think. And now I'm trying to get it back. So it's work in progress. So this is Nacheli. Duré la mayor parte de mi vida avergonzándome de mi nombre, acortando su significado para encajar en espacios que no aceptaban mi piel ni apariencia. Mi nombre indígena significa te amo. Sin embargo, duré toda una vida sin amarme a mí misma, disfrazando mi inseguridad de ropa de marca y viajes constantes, disfrazando mis miedos de amores fallidos y amistades superficiales. Nacheli significa te amo. Hoy me amo tal y como soy. Morena, sencilla, emocional, explosiva, Nacheli. Ese es. Ya, ¿puedo leer una última? Sí, muy bien. Okay, in this poem, I wrote it not so long ago. I wrote it with 3 other poets. They're from 3 other female poets from India, Nigeria, and Malawi. And this is the first time that I write something with people that I don't know, but it was a beautiful experience. We all have a same goal, and it was just really nice for me to co-create with other female poets. So this is, and this was made for educational leaders. So that's why it's very, it's called Education Shifts Power. Shiksha, educación, mapunciro, eco. Education shifts power, but are you listening? Dear world leaders, this is the voice of the 20 million girls who may never return to school. The rule isn't that mere survival is a safe and healthy life. After over a year of disrupted education, our girls deserve to truly thrive. And we refuse to stand silently on the silence to watch decades of progress on girls' rights and education be undone. It is time to empower. Education shifts power. but are you listening? You must prioritize investing in girls' education because failing yet again to do so is a grave injustice, a disservice, not merely to a segment of the population, but to entire nations and future generations. We demand a future built by all of us, a future with an education system and curriculum that centers social and climate justice, that builds on the foundation of gender equality. Millions of voices, our voices, asking you again and again, nos están escuchando. Are you listening? Education shifts power when schools are safe and inclusive. Education transforms idea systems and norms, saying no to boys will be boys and ushering in accountability and reform. It is time to empower. Education shifts power, but are you listening? We don't want any more promises. We don't want you to shift the blame. We don't want bits and pieces. We demand real change with actions and policies. Dear world leaders, we urge you to commit. We dare you to step up and lead. We dare you to shift power through education. Are you really listening? Shiksha, educación, mapunciro, eco, education, education, education shifts power. Gracias. And I do believe education shifts power, so especially girls' education.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, thank you so much. Yes.
Gracias.
Nacheli. I mean, Alejandra. Thank you so much. So where can people find you and your works, your book? What are you working on next?
Yes, so everything is kind of like the same handle. It's A. Ramos Gómez, my initial and my two last names. So aramosgomez.com or A. Ramos Gómez on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I have my personal, but I also accept people. and yeah, I'm working on a, We Are Poderosas is starting. That's really that's the reason I quit my full-time job and went into freelance in this scary world. But I really want to do things that I'm happy, that make me happy and things that I believe in. And so I'm trying to write something like a manual for young girls. So to love being imperfect.
Yes, that's awesome. So thank you so much for blessing us. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you as our feature this evening. Thank you for everyone that blessed the mic this evening, who shared what they do to honor their ancestors. For me, I speak their names when I wake up and before I go to bed. Also for the month of Black August, along with my comrades from the Maroon Liberation School and others throughout the world, we fast from sunrise to sunset in remembrance to their struggle and to this ongoing struggle. You mentioned, Alejandra, femicides, which in the island where I come from, Puerto Rico, it's something that has been growing at an alarming rate. So it is something that we must speak about to everyone who is home, whatever you might do to honor your ancestors, continue to do that. If you don't have something in place, think about it. Something just as small as just thinking about them goes a long way. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your stories this evening. And it was dope being your host for the evening. So if El Títere Mayor don't have nothing to say, I will sign off as Rebel Poet. Dime,
really quick. Muchísimas gracias everyone for coming to our beautiful features. Just wanted to let you folks know, next Esquina open mic will be September 10th. One of our features is in the room, Señor Tony Aldorando and Amanda La Tormenta. So please come by. We'll put out that information in the next week or two. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.